Has Edmundo Sosa forced Rob Thomson's hand and earned a little bit more playing time as the season progresses? Let's talk about it next right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the PHLY Phillies podcast. And yes, Edmundo Sosa has been excellent to begin the season. Now, he's not in the lineup today as Bryson Stott will play second. Trea Turner will be at short. And of course, the outfield experiment is not entirely underway just yet. But Sosa has been really, really good to begin the 2025 season, and it's getting people to start thinking about how much more playing time can Edmundo Sosa get, and will he force Rob Thomson's hand in making him be in the lineup more as the season unfolds. Another 3 hits for him last night. He's now 9 for 15 in the early portions of the season with an .867 slugging percentage and a 1.492 OPS. And it's not like he's getting fluky hits. He's hitting the ball hard, and his expected batting average is .408. So he's not getting cheap hits. His BABIP is not really crazy in any one capacity. So he's having an excellent start to the year. And the question is, how does he get into the lineup more and more? Because he's raking. He's seeing beach balls right now. And what I mean by that is he's just has the ability to see any one given pitch in the early portions of the season and drive it to where he needs to drive it to. He's done a good job of going opposite field. He's done a good job of hitting for power into the left center field gap. And we'll talk more about that in just a second as well, because I know it's a small sample size, but it's been a much cleaner look to Edmundo Sosa's swing over the first couple of days. He has a 58.3% hard hit percentage, and his average exit velocity through the first 5 games is just shy of 93 miles an hour. Again, it's a small sample size, but if he's able to sustain this throughout the entirety of the season, which I would probably say that he won't, but if he's able to sustain that hard hit percentage and a 93 exit velocity throughout the entirety of the season, it'll be 3 miles an hour faster than any one given year for Sosa when it comes to his average exit velocity. But the one thing that's been important to me is I think he's been more selective at the plate. He's seen 56 pitches in his first 16 plate appearances, which is actually slightly down from his average last year of about 3.8 pitches per plate appearance. But the thing that he's not doing nearly as much is chasing. Last year, my big knock on Edmundo Sosa was his chase rate, as was probably the case for a lot of the Phillies, but his was 40.5%. And it's gone down fairly sizably in the first 5 games of the season, down 6% to 34.5% in 2025. But even when he is chasing, because 34.5% is still relatively high, he's ending up with a lot of chase contact, which means when he's going outside of the zone or outside of what is being considered a chase rate type of pitch, he's making a lot of contact with it. He's not swinging and missing nearly as much on his chase rates. And in fact, the one pitch that he's whiffing on less this year than he did last year was the fastball. So far through the first 5 games of the year, a 15.8% whiff rate on fastballs compared to last year, which was 22.7%. And as a whole, his whiff rates are down about 8% to begin the season. I think he's taking a much better path to the baseball. He has a little bit of a long swing. It's a little loopy at times. But so far to begin the year, he's taking a much better path to the baseball. And I also think he's allowing the ball to just get a little bit deeper into his swing path, which is allowing him to go to all fields. It's allowing him to see the pitch a little bit longer, a little bit more out of the pitcher's hand. And I think it's allowing him to not only hit to all fields, but I think it does immediately impact what his chase rates are because he's not swinging out of hand nearly as much. He has 4 opposite field hits already in the season, and he's got 9, so he's spreading the ball to all fields. And one of those 4 opposite field hits was the RBI double in Monday's game that set the table for the Phillies to have the comeback win after they were down 1-0 in the 7th inning. So the question is, how much more and where does Edmundo Sosa play? Does he force Rob Thomson's hand into placing him in the lineup in a more consistent basis? And where could he play? Could it be more second? Could it be short? Could it be in left field? So let's talk about those 3. I think Edmundo Sosa has played himself into getting more at-bats against left-handed pitching and play second base over Bryson Stott. Not every time a lefty's on the mound, but I think there's more consideration there. He's also going to spell Trea Turner, who has had the back spasms early in the season, who had a hamstring injury last year. He'll spell Trea Turner about once a week or so. There is a chance that he could also play a little bit of third and give Alec Bohm a spell, or Bohm could move over to first. There's optionality with Edmundo Sosa. And the last thing, obviously, is the outfield experiment that they tried in spring training. I don't think he's ready to be a major league game outfielder just yet, but they're probably getting him closer and closer to being able to be flexible enough to do just that. He could give Max Kepler a spell. They could move Brandon Marsh over into center. It could be Sosa and Rojas if they feel comfortable with that. There's a lot of optionality with Edmundo Sosa, and as he continues to hit, even if it's not at the 600 clip, because he's not going to hit 600 over the season, but as he continues to hit, they're going to find more and more ways to get him on in the lineup. Now, I do think there's a bell curve to Edmundo Sosa. I think there can be an overexposure. I think you saw it at the end of last year. His chase rates went through the roof in the second half of the season, and it was potentially a little bit of an overexposure. He's an excellent bench piece. He's an excellent sixth man, if you will, if you want to comp it to the NBA. But I don't know if he's ready to fully take on the role of an everyday player, even if it is in a different capacity, throughout the week. What they're doing with Edmundo Sosa is exactly what Edmundo Sosa is best at. Being a utility guy, being a Swiss Army knife with upside to be able to be a fill starter when needed. You saw it last year with Trea Turner with the hamstring injury. He played excellently at short in the month of May before Trea Turner came back. You can, again, play multiple different positions. So I think the skill set of Edmundo Sosa is to grow a little bit further in his role. He will get more consistent at bats, and you may see him an extra day or two per week as he continues to hit early in the season. But I think the best role for him is the one that he has carved out, and his teammates clearly appreciate him in the role that he plays. JT Realmuto was praising him. Nick Castellanos gave him the ultimate praise. Kyle Schwarber, Zach Wheeler, these guys love Edmundo Sosa and what he brings to this team. So do I think he gets more reps as the season goes on? I do. I do also believe that there's a bell curve to how much he should play before an overexposure sets in. But right now, I'm enjoying the ride with Edmundo Sosa through the first two series. He's been an absolute joy to watch to begin the 2025 season.